I was 17 years old when my mother left me alone at Denver International Airport with $2 in my pocket. "Wait here, Sienna," she said, handing me 2 crumpled $1 bills. "I need to take care of some things. I'll be back in a few hours." I believed her. I sat on a bench near the departure gate and waited. 2 hours became 4. 4 became 8. When the airport started emptying out for the night, I realized the truth. My mother wasn't coming back. She had abandoned me. Literally left me at an airport like I was forgotten luggage. I had $2, a backpack with some clothes, and nowhere to go. That night, I slept in an airport bathroom, crying silently so no one would hear me. In the days that followed, I discovered why she'd abandoned me. She'd met a wealthy man named Richard. He didn't want baggage, children from previous relationships. So my mother chose. She chose his money. She chose the luxurious life he offered. And she discarded me like trash. 11 years passed. I survived. More than that, I thrived. I finished high school while living in shelters. I got a full scholarship to Harvard. I graduated medical school. I became a cardiac surgeon. I built a life my mother never imagined I'd be capable of building. And then, on a rainy October night, my doorbell rang. I opened the door. And there she was. My mother. Older. Thinner. Sick. "Sienna," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I need you. Please. I have no one else." I looked at the woman who gave birth to me. The woman who abandoned me. The woman who chose money over her own daughter. And I had to decide. Close the door like she closed the door on my life? Or be the person she never was? My name is Sienna Hayes, and this is my story. I always knew I wasn't my mother's priority. Patricia Hayes was a woman obsessed with status, appearances, and money. She'd had me at 22, the result of a failed relationship with a man who disappeared before I was born. Patricia never let me forget I was a mistake, a burden. An obstacle to the life she really wanted. "If it weren't for you, I could have made something of my life," Patricia said frequently. "I could have married well, traveled, lived." I grew up walking on eggshells, trying to be invisible, trying not to be a problem. I was an excellent student, quiet, responsible. I took care of myself, made my own meals, did my own laundry. But nothing I did was enough. Patricia always saw me as a burden. When I was 17, Patricia met Richard Thornton at a business networking event. Richard was a wealthy 55-year-old businessman, divorced, no children. Patricia became obsessed. "He's perfect," she'd say, her eyes gleaming. "Rich, successful, generous. He could give me the life I've always deserved." I was happy for my mother. Maybe if Patricia was happy, she'd be kinder, more present. But then Patricia started acting strangely. She stopped mentioning me when talking to Richard. When Richard came for dinner, Patricia made me stay in my room. "I don't want you ruining this for me," Patricia would say. "Richard doesn't need to know about you yet." I should have noticed. Should have seen the signs. But I was just a 17-year-old girl who wanted to believe her mother loved her. In September 2015, Patricia told me we were going on a mother-daughter trip to Denver. "It'll be fun," Patricia said. "Just the two of us. Quality time." I was thrilled. My mother had never proposed anything like this before. We flew to Denver on a Saturday morning. Patricia was strangely quiet during the flight, staring out the window, avoiding my gaze. When we arrived at Denver International Airport, Patricia led me to a waiting area near the departure gates. "Wait here," Patricia said. "I need to take care of some things. I'll be back in a few hours." "A few hours?" I asked. "Mom, what do you need to take care of? I thought we were spending the weekend together." "Change of plans," Patricia said, avoiding my eyes. "Just wait here. Don't leave this spot." "Understood." "But, Sienna, just do what I'm telling you," Patricia interrupted, her voice sharp. She opened her purse, pulled out 2 crumpled $1 bills, and placed them in my hand. Here. In case you get hungry. $2. My mother was leaving me in a strange airport with $2. Mom, what's going on? I asked, fear starting to creep in. Nothing, Patricia said quickly. Just wait here. I'll be back soon. And then she turned and walked away. I watched her disappear into the airport crowd, a sense of dread growing in my stomach. Something was wrong. Very wrong. But I obeyed. I sat on a bench near the departure gate and waited. 1 hour passed. Then 2. Then 3. I tried calling my mother. Straight to voicemail. I sent texts. No response. 4 hours. 5 hours. 6 hours. The airport started emptying out. Late-night flights were departing. Stores were closing. I sat alone on the bench, clutching my backpack, slowly realizing the horrible truth. My mother wasn't coming back. She had abandoned me. When the clock struck midnight, I finally accepted reality. My mother had left me. I was alone. In a strange airport. In a strange city. With $2. Panic hit me like a wave. My heart raced. My hands shook. I couldn't breathe. What was I supposed to do? Where was I supposed to go? I didn't know anyone in Denver. I had no money. I had no credit card. I was only 17 years old. I went to the bathroom and locked myself in a stall. I sat on the closed toilet seat and cried. Cried until I had no more tears left. When I finally stopped, I forced myself to think rationally. I couldn't panic. Panic wouldn't help me. I needed a plan. First, shelter. I couldn't afford a hotel. I'd have to sleep in the airport. Second, food. I had $2. That would buy maybe a snack from a vending machine. Third, figure out what had happened. Why my mother had abandoned me. I left the bathroom and found a quiet corner of the airport, near a closed gate. I curled up in my hoodie and tried to sleep. But sleep wouldn't come. The floor was hard. The lights were bright. And my heart was broken. Why had my mother done this? How could a mother abandon her own daughter? In the morning, I used my $2 to buy a granola bar from a vending machine. I ate it slowly, making it last. Then I found a payphone and called my mother's cell again. Voicemail. I tried our house in Seattle. No one answered. Desperate, I called the only other person I knew. My best friend, Jade. Sienna. Jade answered. Where are you? Your mom called my mom yesterday saying you were moving. Moving. I repeated, confused. Moving where? She didn't say. Just said you wouldn't be at school anymore. That you were starting a new life somewhere else. My blood ran cold. Jade, I'm not moving. My mother abandoned me. She left me at the Denver airport with $2 and disappeared. What? Jade screamed. Sienna, that's insane. You need to call the police. And say what? I asked, my voice breaking. That my mother left me here? They'll put me in foster care. They'll take me out of school. They'll ruin my life. Your life is already ruined, Jade said. You're alone in Denver with no money. I know, I whispered. I know. Jade was quiet for a moment. What are you going to do? I don't know, I said honestly. But I can't go into the system. I can't let them take away my future. I'm supposed to graduate this year. I'm supposed to go to college. If I go into foster care, all of that disappears. So what's your plan? Jade asked. Survive, I said. I'm going to survive. And I did. For the next 3 days, I lived in Denver International Airport. I slept in bathroom stalls. I washed my face and brushed my teeth in public restrooms. I drank water from fountains. I was hungry constantly. My $2 were gone after the first day. I had no money for food. I started looking through trash cans for half-eaten food. I found a partially eaten sandwich once. A bag of chips another time. It was humiliating. Degrading. But I was starving. On the fourth day, an airport security guard noticed me. "Hey kid," he said. "You've been here for days. What's going on?" I panicked. If he reported me, they'd call social services. "I'm waiting for my mom," I lied. "She's picking me up soon." The guard looked skeptical. "You've been here for 4 days waiting for your mom?" "She's been delayed," I said quickly. "Work stuff. She'll be here soon." The guard studied me for a long moment. "What's your name?" "Sienna," I said quietly. "Sienna, I'm Officer Martinez. And I think you're in trouble. Real trouble. Why don't you tell me what's really going on?" I looked at this man, this stranger, and something inside me broke. "My mother abandoned me," I whispered. "She left me here with $2 and never came back." Officer Martinez's expression softened. "How old are you?" 17. "Do you have any other family? Anyone I can call?" "No," I said. "It's just me and my mom. And she's gone." Officer Martinez sighed. "Sienna, I have to report this. You're a minor. You can't live in an airport." "Please don't," I begged. "If you report me, they'll put me in foster care. I'll lose everything. I'm supposed to graduate high school this year. I'm supposed to go to college. Please." Officer Martinez looked torn. "I can't just leave you here. I'll figure something out," I said desperately. "I just need a little time. Please." Officer Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his wallet and pulled out a $20 bill. "Here," he said, handing it to me. "Get yourself some real food. And figure out a plan. Because I'm back on duty tomorrow, and if I see you here again, I have to report it. Understand?" I took the $20, tears streaming down my face. "Thank you." "Don't thank me," Officer Martinez said. "Just take care of yourself, kid." He walked away, and I stood there holding $20, realizing I had less than 24 hours to figure out my life. I used $10 to buy a real meal at the airport food court. A burger, fries, and a soda. It was the best thing I'd ever tasted. Then I sat down and forced myself to think. I couldn't stay in the airport. I couldn't go into foster care. I needed a place to stay. A job. A way to survive. I remembered something my history teacher had mentioned once. Youth shelters. Places where homeless teenagers could stay temporarily. I found a computer terminal in the airport and searched for youth shelters in Denver. There was one called Safe Haven, about 5 miles from the airport. I used the last of Officer Martinez's money to take a bus there. Safe Haven was a small building in a rough neighborhood. It looked run down and depressing. But it was shelter. I walked inside. A woman in her 40s sat at the front desk. She had kind eyes and tired smile. "Can I help you?" she asked. "I need a place to stay," I said quietly. "I'm 17. I'm homeless." The woman's expression softened. "What's your name, honey?" "Sienna." "I'm Carol," she said. "Come sit down. Tell me what happened." I told her everything. About my mother. About Richard. About being abandoned at the airport. Carol listened without interrupting, her expression growing sadder with each word. When I finished, she reached across the desk and squeezed my hand. "You're safe now," she said. "We'll help you." Safe Haven became my home. It wasn't much. A small room with a twin bed, a dresser, and a shared bathroom down the hall. But it was warm. It was safe. And it was mine. Carol helped me enroll in a local high school. She helped me get a part-time job at a grocery store. She helped me apply for financial aid for college. "You're a smart girl, Sienna," Carol said. "You've been dealt a terrible hand. But you don't have to let it define you. You can still build a good life. I held on to those words like a lifeline. I threw myself into school. I studied constantly. I worked every shift I could at the grocery store. I saved every penny. I was determined to prove my mother wrong. To prove that I wasn't a burden. That I was capable. That I was worthy. I graduated high school with a 4.0 GPA. I was valedictorian. At graduation, I stood on stage and gave a speech about resilience. About overcoming adversity. About refusing to let your circumstances define you. Carol was in the audience, crying and clapping. She was the only person there for me. But she was enough. After graduation, I applied to colleges. I got accepted to Harvard with a full scholarship. Harvard. The school my mother said I'd never be smart enough to attend. I packed my few belongings and moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts. I was 18 years old, alone in a new city, starting a new life. But I wasn't scared. I was determined. At Harvard, I majored in biology with a pre-med track. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to save lives. I wanted to be the person who showed up when people needed help. The person my mother never was. College was hard. I worked multiple jobs to pay for expenses my scholarship didn't cover. I studied late into the night. I had no social life, no free time, no room for mistakes. But I didn't care. I had a goal. And nothing was going to stop me. I graduated from Harvard summa cum laude. I got accepted to Harvard Medical School. I specialized in cardiac surgery. The most demanding, most challenging specialty. I wanted to prove I could do the impossible. Medical school was brutal. 100-hour weeks. Constant pressure. Life and death decisions. But I thrived. I was good at it. Really good. My professors noticed. You have a gift, Sienna, Dr. Richardson, my mentor, told me. You're one of the best students I've ever taught. You're going to be an exceptional surgeon. I completed my residency at Massachusetts General Hospital. I became a cardiac surgeon at 28 years old. I bought a small house in a nice neighborhood in Boston. I had a career I loved. A life I'd built from nothing. I'd done it. I'd survived. More than that, I'd thrived. And through it all, I never heard from my mother. Not once. No phone call. No letter. No apology. She had erased me from her life completely. And I'd learned to live with that. I'd learned to build a life without her. I'd learned that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up. Like Carol. Like Dr. Richardson. Like the colleagues who became friends. I thought I'd moved on. I thought I'd healed. But then, on a rainy October night, my doorbell rang. I was home after a long shift at the hospital. I was exhausted, still in my scrubs, heating up leftover pasta. The doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened the door. And there she was. My mother. I almost didn't recognize her. She looked so different. Older. Much older. Her hair was grey. Her face was gaunt. Her clothes hung loosely on her thin frame. She looked sick. Sienna, she whispered, her voice hoarse. Tears were streaming down her face. Sienna, it's me. It's Mom. I stood frozen, unable to speak. Unable to process what I was seeing. My mother. The woman who abandoned me 11 years ago. Standing on my doorstep. Can I come in? Patricia asked. Please. I need to talk to you. I should have slammed the door. Should have told her to leave. Should have done to her what she did to me. But I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. I just stood there, staring. Please, Sienna, Patricia said, her voice breaking. I know I don't deserve it. I know I have no right to ask. But please. I need your help. I have nowhere else to go. And despite everything, despite the years of pain and abandonment, I stepped aside and let her in. Patricia walked into my house slowly, looking around with wide eyes. "You have a beautiful home," she said quietly. "Thank you," I said, my voice cold. We stood in my living room, an awkward silence stretching between us. "Why are you here?" I finally asked. Patricia's face crumpled. "I'm sick, Sienna. I have stage 4 cancer. The doctors say I have maybe 6 months left." I felt nothing. No sympathy. No sadness. Just emptiness. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said flatly. "But that doesn't explain why you're here." "Richard left me," Patricia said, tears flowing freely now. 2 years ago. He found someone younger. He divorced me and took everything. The house, the money, everything. I have nothing, Sienna. No money. No insurance. No one to help me. And you thought of me," I said bitterly. "After 11 years of silence, you thought of the daughter you abandoned." "I know," Patricia sobbed. "I know what I did was unforgivable. I know I don't deserve your help. But you're all I have left. You're my daughter. Please." I looked at this woman, this stranger who happened to share my DNA, and I felt a rage I'd buried for years rising to the surface. "I'm your daughter," I said, my voice shaking. "I'm your daughter? Where was that sentiment 11 years ago when you left me at an airport with $2? Where was that sentiment when you chose a man's money over your own child?" "I made a mistake," Patricia said. "A terrible mistake. I was selfish and stupid, and I've regretted it every day since." "Have you?" I asked. "Because you never called. Never wrote. Never tried to find me. For 11 years, you didn't care if I was alive or dead. And now you show up because you need something from me." "I was ashamed," Patricia said. "I was too ashamed to reach out. I knew what I'd done was unforgivable. I knew you'd hate me." "You were right," I said. "I do hate you. Do you have any idea what you put me through? I was 17 years old. I slept in airport bathrooms. I ate food from trash cans. I lived in a homeless shelter. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college. I did all of that alone because you threw me away like garbage." "I'm sorry," Patricia whispered. "I'm so sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix anything," I said. "Sorry doesn't give me back the years I spent wondering why my own mother didn't love me. Sorry doesn't erase the trauma of being abandoned." Patricia sank onto my couch, sobbing. I know I can't fix what I did. But I'm dying, Sienna. I'm dying and I'm alone and I'm scared. I just wanted to see you one more time. To tell you I'm sorry. To ask for your forgiveness." "Forgiveness?" I laughed bitterly. "You want forgiveness? You want me to absolve you of your guilt so you can die in peace?" "I want a chance to make things right," Patricia said. "However I can. Whatever you need from me." "What I needed from you was a mother," I said. "I needed you to choose me. To protect me. To love me. But you didn't. You chose money and status and a man who didn't even want you in the end. And now you have nothing. And you think I'm going to save you." Patricia looked up at me with desperate eyes. "You're a doctor. You can help me. You can get me treatment. You can." "I can what?" I interrupted. "Pay for your cancer treatment? Let you move in here? Take care of you while you die? After everything you did to me?" "You're my daughter," Patricia said again, as if that meant something. "And you're the woman who abandoned me," I said. "That's all you are to me. A woman who gave birth to me and then threw me away when I became inconvenient." I walked to the door and opened it. "I think you should leave." Patricia stood up slowly, her face pale. "Sienna, please. I have nowhere to go." "That's not my problem," I said. "You made your choices. Now live with the consequences." "I'm dying," Patricia said desperately. "I'm dying and I have no one. Please don't turn me away. Please." I stood at the door, holding it open, my hand shaking. Every fiber of my being wanted to slam it in her face. Wanted to make her feel the abandonment I'd felt. Wanted her to suffer the way I'd suffered. But I couldn't do it. Despite everything, despite the years of pain, I couldn't turn away a dying woman. Even if that woman was my mother. You can stay tonight, I said finally. One night. Tomorrow, we'll figure out what to do. Patricia's face flooded with relief. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me, I said coldly. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this because I'm not you. I'm not the kind of person who abandons people when they need help. I showed Patricia to my guest room. I gave her clean towels and told her where the bathroom was. Then I went to my own room and closed the door. I sat on my bed and let the tears come. Tears of rage. Tears of pain. Tears of confusion. Why had she come back? Why now? Why did she think she had any right to ask me for help? I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the scared 17-year-old girl I'd been. The girl who'd been abandoned and left to fend for herself. That girl had survived. She'd built a life. She'd become strong. But she was still inside me, still hurting, still asking why she hadn't been enough for her mother to love. In the morning, I made coffee and found Patricia sitting at my kitchen table. She looked even worse in the daylight. Pale, thin, exhausted. We need to talk, I said, sitting across from her. About what happens next. Patricia nodded. I understand if you want me to leave. I do. But Sienna, I'm begging you. I need help. I need medical care. I need somewhere to stay. I have nothing. Whose fault is that? I asked. Mine, Patricia admitted. It's all my fault. I made terrible choices. I hurt you. I destroyed my own life. I know that. But I'm still your mother. Biologically, I said. But you were never a mother to me. Not really. Mothers don't abandon their children. Patricia flinched. You're right. I wasn't a good mother. I was selfish and vain, and I cared more about money than about you. But I'm asking you to be better than me. To show me the compassion I never showed you. I stared at her. You're asking me to be the bigger person? To take care of you after you threw me away? Yes, Patricia said simply. I know I don't deserve it. But I'm asking anyway. I thought about it. About what it would mean to help her. To let her stay. To pay for her treatment. It would mean months of caring for the woman who'd hurt me most. It would mean reliving trauma. It would mean sacrifice. But it would also mean being the person I'd always wanted to be. The person who showed up. The person who helped. The person my mother never was. If I do this, I said slowly, there are conditions. You don't get to pretend the past didn't happen. You don't get to act like we're a happy family. You hurt me, and I need you to acknowledge that. Really acknowledge it. I do, Patricia said. I acknowledge it. I know what I did was unforgivable. And you don't get to make demands, I continued. I'm not your servant. I'm not your caretaker. I'm a surgeon with a demanding career. If you stay here, you follow my rules. You respect my space. You respect my life. I will, Patricia promised. I'll do whatever you ask. I took a deep breath. Then you can stay. I'll help you get medical care. I'll help you through this. But not because you deserve it. Because I deserve to be the kind of person who helps, even when it's hard. Patricia started crying again. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet, I said. This isn't going to be easy. For either of us. The next few weeks were some of the hardest of my life. I took Patricia to oncology appointments. I consulted with her doctors. I learned the full extent of her illness. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Metastasized to her liver and lungs. The prognosis was grim. 6 months, maybe less. Treatment could extend her life slightly, but there was no cure. I want to fight, Patricia told me after one appointment. I want to try treatment, even if it only gives me a few more months. It's your choice, I said, but you need to understand what you're signing up for. Chemotherapy is brutal. You'll be sick constantly, weak, in pain. I know, Patricia said, but I want whatever time I can get. Time to try to make things right with you. I arranged for her treatment at Mass General. I used my connections to get her the best oncologists. I paid for everything out of pocket since she had no insurance. It cost thousands of dollars. Money I'd saved carefully over years. Money I'd planned to use for my future. But I paid it anyway. Because despite everything, I couldn't let her die without trying to help. Patricia moved into my guest room permanently. I set up a schedule. I worked my shifts at the hospital. I came home and took care of her. I made meals she could keep down. I drove her to appointments. I sat with her during chemotherapy infusions. It was exhausting, emotionally and physically draining. But I did it. One evening, about a month after Patricia moved in, we were sitting in the living room. She was wrapped in blankets, weak from her latest chemo session. "Can I ask you something?" Patricia said quietly. "What? How did you do it? How did you survive after I left you?" I was quiet for a long moment. I didn't have a choice. It was survive or die. So I survived. But how? Patricia pressed. "You were just a kid. Alone. With nothing." "I found a youth shelter," I said. "A woman named Carol helped me. She got me enrolled in school, helped me get a job. She was more of a mother to me in 6 months than you were in 17 years. Patricia flinched. "I'm glad you had someone. I shouldn't have needed someone," I said. "I should have had you." "I know," Patricia whispered. "Why did you do it?" I asked, the question I'd been holding back for weeks finally spilling out. "Why did you abandon me? Was I really that much of a burden?" Patricia's eyes filled with tears. "It wasn't about you, Sienna. It was about me. My own insecurity. My own desperation. Richard represented everything I thought I wanted. Wealth. Status. Security. And he made it clear he didn't want children. So I made a choice. The worst choice of my life. You chose money over your daughter," I said. "Yes," Patricia admitted. "I did. And I've regretted it every single day since. But not enough to reach out," I said. "Not enough to try to find me. Not enough to apologize until you needed something from me." "I was ashamed," Patricia said. "I knew what I'd done was unforgivable. I knew you'd hate me. So I told myself it was better to stay away. To let you build a life without me. But the truth is, I was a coward. I was too afraid to face what I'd done." "You were a coward," I agreed. "And I paid the price for your cowardice." We sat in silence for a while. Then Patricia spoke again. "For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Of everything you've accomplished. You became a doctor. You built a beautiful life. You did all of that without me. You're stronger than I ever was." "I had to be," I said. "I didn't have the luxury of being weak." Over the next few months, Patricia's health declined. The chemotherapy wasn't working. The cancer was spreading. Her doctors recommended stopping treatment and focusing on comfort care. "How long?" Patricia asked. "Weeks," her oncologist said gently. "Maybe a month or 2. Patricia took the news calmly. "I guess that's it then." We went home in silence. That night, Patricia asked if we could talk. "I want to tell you about Richard," she said. "About what happened." "You don't have to," I said. "I want to," Patricia insisted. "I want you to know the truth. About everything." So she told me. About how Richard had been charming at first. Attentive. generous. About how he'd promised her the world. About how he'd made one condition: no children. He said children were a burden, Patricia said. That they ruined relationships. That he wanted a partner, not a family. And I was so desperate for the life he offered that I agreed. So you got rid of me, I said. I told myself I was giving you a chance at a better life, Patricia said. That you'd be better off without me. But the truth is, I was just being selfish. I wanted what I wanted, and you were in the way. What happened with Richard? I asked. We got married, Patricia said. Had 5 years together. He bought me nice things. We traveled. We lived in a beautiful house. But I was never happy. Because I knew what I'd done to get that life. I knew I'd abandoned my daughter. And that guilt ate at me every single day. But not enough to reach out, I said again. No, Patricia admitted. Not enough for that. And then Richard met someone else. A woman 20 years younger than me. He divorced me and married her within 6 months. Took everything in the divorce. Left me with nothing. Karma, I said without sympathy. Yes, Patricia agreed. Karma. I got exactly what I deserved. I threw away my daughter for money and status. And in the end, I lost it all anyway. The money. The status. And most importantly, you. You lost me the day you left me at that airport, I said. I know, Patricia whispered. I know. Patricia's condition worsened rapidly. Within 2 weeks, she was bedridden. I took a leave of absence from the hospital to care for her full-time. I set up hospice care in my home. Nurses came daily to help manage her pain. I sat with her for hours. We talked about her life. About her regrets. About the choices she wished she could take back. If I could do it over, Patricia said one day, her voice weak, I'd choose you. Every time. I'd choose you. But you didn't, I said. No, Patricia agreed. I didn't. And I'll regret that for whatever time I have left. One night, about 3 weeks after we'd stopped treatment, Patricia woke me up. It was 3 in the morning. I heard her calling my name. I rushed to her room. What's wrong? Are you in pain? No, Patricia said. I just wanted to talk to you. While I still can. I sat on the edge of her bed. What do you want to talk about? I want to tell you that I love you, Patricia said. I know I never showed it. I know I failed you in every possible way. But I do love you, Sienna. I always have. I felt tears prick my eyes. Love isn't just words, Mom. Love is action. Love is showing up. Love is choosing someone, even when it's hard. You never did any of that. I know, Patricia said. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If I could take it all back, I would. If I could be the mother you deserved, I would. But I can't. All I can do is tell you the truth. You are the best thing I ever created. And abandoning you is the worst thing I ever did. I was crying now. Why are you telling me this now? When it's too late. Because I need you to know, Patricia said. I need you to know that my failures weren't about you. You were always enough. You were always worthy of love. I was just too broken to see it. We sat together in the darkness, both of us crying. Do you forgive me? Patricia asked. I thought about it. About forgiveness. About what it meant. I don't know, I said honestly. Part of me wants to. Part of me wants to let go of the anger and the pain. But another part of me can't forget what you did. Can't forget the scared 17-year-old girl who slept in airport bathrooms because her mother threw her away. I understand, Patricia said. You don't owe me forgiveness. You don't owe me anything. But I'm here, I said. Despite everything, I'm here. Taking care of you. That has to count for something. It counts for everything, Patricia said. It shows that you're a better person than I ever was. That you have more compassion in your little finger than I had in my entire body. Patricia died 2 weeks later. It was early morning. I was sitting beside her bed, holding her hand. Her breathing had been labored for hours. And then, quietly, it stopped. She was gone. I sat there for a long time, holding the hand of the woman who'd given me life and then abandoned me. The woman who'd caused me so much pain. The woman I'd cared for in her final months despite everything. I felt a strange mix of emotions. Sadness. Relief. Anger. Peace. I'd done what I set out to do. I'd been the person my mother never was. I'd shown up. I'd helped. I'd cared for someone who didn't deserve it. And in doing so, I'd proven to myself that I was stronger than my trauma. That I was more than what had been done to me. Patricia's funeral was small. Just me and a few people from the hospice organization. No one else came. She'd burned every bridge in her life. I was the only one left. As I stood at her grave, I thought about everything that had happened. About the scared girl I'd been. About the woman I'd become. About the choice I'd made to help my mother despite everything she'd done. I don't know if I forgive you, I said to the gravestone. But I hope you found peace. And I hope, wherever you are, you understand that I didn't do this for you. I did it for me. Because I needed to prove that I'm not you. That I'm better than the pain you caused me. I walked away from the grave and didn't look back. Life went on. I returned to work at the hospital. I threw myself back into surgery, into saving lives, into being the doctor I'd worked so hard to become. My colleagues asked where I'd been. I told them I'd been caring for a sick family member. I didn't elaborate. Some things were too personal to share. Months passed. The grief faded. The anger softened. I started to feel like myself again. One day, I was cleaning out the guest room, packing up Patricia's few belongings, when I found a letter. It was addressed to me in Patricia's handwriting. I sat on the bed and opened it. Dear Sienna, it read. If you're reading this, I'm gone. I wanted to write this while I still could, while my mind was still clear. I want you to know that these last few months with you have been the best months of my life. Not because I was dying, but because I got to see the incredible woman you became. You are everything I should have been and wasn't. You are strong, compassionate, brilliant, and kind. You are a healer. You save lives. You make the world better just by being in it. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I can never make up for what I did to you. But I want you to know that I see you. I see your strength. I see your heart. And I am so, so proud to be your mother, even though I never earned that title. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for showing me what real love looks like. Thank you for being the person I never was. I love you, Sienna. I always have. I just wish I'd been brave enough to show it when it mattered. Your mother, Patricia. I read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down my face. It didn't fix anything. It didn't erase the pain. But it was something. An acknowledgement. An apology. A recognition of what I'd done. I folded the letter carefully and put it in a drawer. I didn't know if I'd ever read it again. But I kept it. Because it was proof. Proof that I'd made a difference. Proof that even in her final days, my mother had seen me. Really seen me. And maybe, in some small way, that was enough. Today, I'm 30 years old. I'm still a cardiac surgeon at Mass General. I still save lives. I still work too hard and sleep too little. But I also have friends now. A life outside of work. I've started dating someone, a kind man who makes me laugh. I've learned to let people in. To trust. To believe that not everyone will abandon me. The scared 17-year-old girl who slept in airport bathrooms is still inside me. She always will be. But she's not alone anymore. She's surrounded by the strength I've built. The life I've created. The person I've become. My mother abandoned me with $2 and no explanation. She thought she was throwing away a burden. But what she actually did was set me free. Free to become someone stronger than she ever was. Free to build a life based on my own values, not hers. Free to choose compassion over cruelty, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. People ask me sometimes if I regret taking care of my mother in her final months. If I wish I'd slammed the door in her face like she deserved. I don't regret it. Because taking care of her wasn't about her. It was about me. It was about proving to myself that I'm not defined by what was done to me. That I'm defined by what I choose to do. And I choose to be better. I choose to show up. I choose to help, even when it's hard. That's my revenge. Not cruelty. Not abandonment. But becoming so much better than the person who hurt me that there's no comparison. My mother left me at an airport with $2. And I turned that abandonment into a medical degree, a career saving lives, and a strength she never had. That's the best revenge of all.